Okay.
Hello, dear participant. Hello, West Africa TESOL members. Welcome to this West Africa TESOL second annual virtual conference. My name is Ndeye Coumba Barro. I am an ESD in Tarang High School. Today, we are here to discuss about today's issue, which is engaging learners in critical thinking through project-based learning. Before starting, I'm going to give you the objectives of PBL, project-based learning. By the end of this session, participants will be able to implement PBL by following its different steps, and then they will be able to help their students build 21st century skills through PBL. This is the outline of the session. First of all, we are going to define PBL. Then we are going to discuss about the steps in implementing PBL. And then next will be about the outcomes. And the other part also will be about the challenges of PBL. The next point to develop is critical thinking. What is critical thinking and its components? And at the end, we will have an exemplary project conducted by students. And then finally, we'll have references. So before going further, to start, I'm going to ask you some questions. Have you ever heard of PBL, project-based learning? Yes? So try to study also the picture. Look at the picture and tell me, what have you seen? What can you see? Try to describe the picture. The picture. Yes, great. So we can call them students sitting around discussing, etc. This is PBL is a teaching methodology that enables students to talk about a problem. When there is a problem, students can work on it in order to provide some solutions. So to define it like this on the slide, you can read it. PBL is giving students the opportunity to develop knowledge and skills through engaging projects based on challenges and problems they may face in real life. We all know that in real life, we face the problem at school, in workplaces, and we use PBL to solve them. For example, PBL is a method of working or teaching, a method of teaching which gives the opportunity to students to move around out of the classes and go to the society, the community, in order to do many things related to this problem. We will come back on it. Okay, next. For the reading, we have other definitions like activities carried out by individual or a group to achieve a specific goal in a social setting with all desire and enthusiasm. Here, we have a group or individual. One student can carry PBL, or a group of people can carry PBL. And there is a specific goal of PBL, maybe to solve a problem, to answer a question, or to bring some solution to a challenge. And why social setting? The context, it is important. When we talk about social setting, it is about the context. You have to define the context. And then we have desire and enthusiasm. Desire meaning here the student is free doing the work themselves or herself. For themselves, as we are talking about a group, individual or a group. And enthusiasm, they are happy doing this because these are something that they create by themselves. Another definition is like a hand-on activity, a hand-on learning by doing approach. Learning by doing, this is defined by Arts for Kids, which is an organization working with kids about arts. Sometimes they conduct some projects in order to achieve many things. And this is the definition they have given to PBL. They said that PBL is learning by doing. And effectively, this is it. So we can say learning by doing. When we have a problem, there are some activities related to the problem that they are going to do. So they do that at the same time they can learn. So it is a hand-on or a learning by doing approach where students investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex problem or challenge. Here we have some terms in common in those definitions. In the other definition, we have some terms in common like investigation and authenticity and engaging and complex. Why investigation? Because it is based on inquiry. And why authenticity? It is conducted in real life. And it is engaging, it is motivating. Why complex? Because sometimes the problem may be difficult to solve. And students will do their best to achieve it and give solutions. Here are some steps in implementing PBL. We have problem, we have inquiry, we have authenticity, we have student voice and choice, we have reflection, we have critique and revision, and the last point is presentation. When we talk about a problem, so we cannot talk about problem-based learning without defining the problem. There is a problem. The problem can be a challenge, a question to be answered, a challenge to be solved, or even a problem to be solved. So you have to give to students the problem. And after having the problem, they will try to give their background knowledge about this problem. For example, if you give to students water problem in their school, they will try to talk about background knowledge. What do they know about the origin of this problem? And they will brainstorm about this problem. They give their idea. Next is they will conduct inquiry. Inquiry is the most important part in PBL. Why? Because in inquiry, we will have investigation. How to investigate? Sometimes we can give questionnaire, sometimes we can give research, we can conduct research, or even we can resort to interview in order to collect information. Here we call it data collection. We collect the information, and after information collecting, we come and we analyze the data. And after analyzing the data, we can resort to some solution or propose some solutions. And why authenticity? Authenticity also is important. When we talk about problem-based learning, we have real-world context. For example, we give them the topic and they go to their district and try to interview people or try to give them questionnaires. And this is also, there is also the integration of 21st century skills. Those 21st century skills are like, first of all, we will have technology, the use of tech tools, as we said that technology is also among 21st century skills. We will have problem solving, we will have collaboration, we will have creativity, and we will also have critical thinking, which is very important in this context. Why student voice and choice? Students are free, they make decisions. No teacher is making the decision at their place. They take their responsibility, they take decision. They create ownership of their learning. Like when they go and interview people, this is what they own for themselves, by themselves. And then they do that. After that, they will come and share their findings, sharing one's findings through presentation, etc. And why reflection? Reflection also is important. When you collect information, you get so many things related to it. Before presenting or doing something, you have to review. The review is trying to see if what these people have said is true, or it is something that we can take as reality. And there is adjustment, like working on what they already have, and self-assessment. Okay. So why critical and revision? Critique and revision. In critique here, we will talk about feedback. When they have done with collecting information, analyzing information, before doing presentation, they have to talk with their peers. Here, they will give feedback. Those who conduct the project will give feedback, and also they will receive feedback. And they also will apply this feedback. How? By taking the remarks into consideration. And then it is a way to improve the final product. Final product being the presentation. The presentation is what we call final product. We share with the peers. For example, after having conducted all these steps, the last point is presenting. Students are going to their respective classes or to their classes in order to present in front of their peer. So these are the steps of PBL. And why these images? So we have people, the first one is asking, he doesn't know. And the second one is analyzing. He is analyzing, trying to see what it is about. And the third one has something which is a little bit clear because we can see the lights. And why the second picture? We have here question mark in the middle, and around we have questions like WH question words. We have why, we have what, we have how, we have when, we have who, we have where. So all this is as where something is not clear. If you don't know, you use this question word to ask the questions. Okay. So now let's talk about the outcomes of PBL. Engagement of students in real world projects. So when you help your student to conduct some project outside the classroom, they do the work and then they come back to share with their peers. But can you imagine that this is not enough? This is important if they start working in the real life situation. For example, after the studies, student who is accustomed to conduct his or her own project in class, in one group, he will be able to do many things in a real life in the future. That is why we talk about engagement of students in the real world project. Maybe they will have some projects to conduct in their workplaces. They will be free to do that because they have the skills. And resolution of complex problems. You know that in general, in this time now, in many areas, in workplaces, at schools, in hospitals, etc., we meet daily problems. People are suffering, people are always struggling. Now, if you learn how to solve a problem, this will be something important, because if you move around some areas, you will meet problems and you will be able to solve them because you have problem solving skills. So with PBL, you can learn skills that will have their benefits in the future, in the workplaces, or when you encounter problems. Through collaboration and critical thinking. You collaborate to solve problems, because sometimes there are problems that one person cannot solve. So you have to collaborate with people who have or are near to you, have some skills, and who conduct critical thinking, asking questions, want to know, okay? And the demonstration of the acquired knowledge through presentation. How? When you demonstrate, it means that there are other people watching. When you demonstrate, when we take the example of the classroom, when you leave the classroom before the project, maybe you are at the same level of understanding of knowledge with many other students. But once you conduct the project, after conducting the project and you come back, you learn something new. You learn something new and you are a little bit different from those who you left behind you. So once in the classroom, you are ready to demonstrate, to show that you have learned something new through projects, okay, through presentation. When you present, the way you tackle the problem, the way you talk, the way you convince will show them that this man or this girl has learned something new and which he or she is sharing with us. And responsibility of learning. Responsible of their own learning. Here, when we say that students are responsible of their learning, after having given the problem, you as a teacher, you let them go. You are just a guide, a facilitator, a project manager. And the rest of the job, the work, students are going to do it by themselves. Sometimes they will come to you to tell you that we are on this step, we will finalize, we will finish this day. And remember that when you have a project, there are deadlines. And they know that we will finish by the end of the month or by the end of the next week. So after we will return to the teacher in order to share our findings. Okay. Challenges of PBL. In many teaching methods, we have the positive sides and the negative sides. Here, we talk about challenges of PBL. What are the challenges of PBL? We sometimes say that problem solving, a problem-based learning is time consuming. That's reality. The time you can spend in a lesson in the class, 2 hours, 4 hours, will not be the same with the time you are going to spend on problem-based learning. It is taking time and it required attention. All the details of the PBL
10 minutes to go.
requires
10
attention.
minutes.
So now another challenge is challenges related to collaboration. We all know that putting students in a group is not easy. We can put some students in a group, whereas they cannot work, they do not want to work together. Sometimes we can put them in a group where there is a leader and the others are lagging behind. So those students may, at the long run, let them go and maybe they will stop participating in the project. And also there is reluctance. Sometimes we as teachers, we are a little bit reluctant to implement PBL. Since it is a method that is not new, but which is not practiced in many schools because of the time consuming and etc. So these are the pictures. We try to analyze these pictures. We have a question, we have people thinking, and we have something like analyzing. To talk about critical thinking. Critical thinking, to define it, is the analysis of available facts, evidence, observation, and argument to form a judgment. Critical thinking is self-directed, self-disciplined, self-monitored, and self-corrective thinking. So it depends on you. Critical thinking, why critical thinking? Because people cannot come to you and tell something and you believe on it. You have to see if it is true, but not staying at the same place. You have to do something about that. You have to analyze, you have to observe, and you have to argument in order to form judgment. Don't judge without knowing the ins and outs of the problems. And about the critical thinking skills, we will talk about the 4 C's. The 4 C's like creativity, collaboration, and communication. So here we have like communication. If we have collaboration, we are going to communicate. And if you communicate, we will be open-minded, or we will have open-mindedness. Open-mindedness is respecting what the other people's opinion is. You have to respect their opinions. And you have to solve the problem together. You solve the problem, you bring solutions. And after having brought solutions, you have to create something new from what we have already had. Here is a hands-on activity on how to engage learner in critical thinking through project-based learning, realized by some of my fifth form students. They conducted a project on the youth and social media, how to minimize the risk. We all know that social medias are good, but there are some risks related to it. So these students are my fifth form students. They conduct a questionnaire to collect information. After collecting information, they analyze data. After analyzing data, they came in order to review what they have already done. So the first chart is about the statement. They give many questions and the questions are graded by frequency. There is never, rare, sometimes, often, always. And you see that how often do you use social media? We have those who always use it, there are 33.4%. Okay. And the next one is, have you ever posted your own picture on social media? 50.1%. Always. Okay. And then when we continue, we have how often do you have problems related to social media? Some say never, rarely, and the other always. They said that they 41.6% have already got problems. And if they have ever tried to solve them, the rate in never outnumber the other. Because why? Because when they have problem, they prefer to leave and to other as a social media instead of being here, quarreling, doing something that are not necessary. And here we have the social media which they use and how much time they spend on it. Here, the most used is WhatsApp. Its percentage is 60%. And here, the number of people using WhatsApp is 55.6%, which outnumber the other social network like TikTok and the others. So this is what students did. They take the information collected in order to transform it into a table. We can collect them and transform them into diagrams. So while doing this, they use the language. They use the language form. They combine sentences. They combine information in order to produce new information. So after having done this, they try to give some solution. To put an end to some risk, students decide to resort to sensitization, training in the use of social media, and parental control and involvement. So they have to sensitize the youth by organizing like some conference, talking to them. And they also want someone who is a specialist in the domain to come, and they will gather the students in order to train them in the use of social media and how to manage some problem when they occur to them. And parental control. Don't forget that every student has a parent, but why not if we have parents involved in what they are doing, controlling everything? Sometimes you can, as a parent, say that today, my son, we are going to connect together. So this is something to show him that you are interested in what he is doing online. And okay, dear participants, this is the end of my presentation. These are the resources. Thank you so much for attending. If you have any question, I'm free to answer. Thank you.
Ndeye Coumba bu ñu sonal waaye man